going on, guys? Thank y'all so much for continuing the dialogue of MMA with me and just keeping the conversation going. We're going to be talking about the Sphere on Mexican Independence Day. UFC Noche in September, they released the newest fight. Also, we're going to be talking about the UFC rule change, guys. I haven't watched any of these yet, so I'm going to go ahead and react to them with you. We're going to start off with I almost said whose name it was. We're going to start off with the Noche UFC fight announcement with who might be, they're not saying whether they're headlining or co-main eventing, but you can kind of go ahead and draw the conclusions to your own.
Oliveira, who last fought in a closely contested loss to Arman Tsarukyan at UFC 300, is now rumored to be setting up a fight against Brian Ortega. Despite his recent setbacks, Oliveira remains a formidable force in the 155 pounds division. According to a Reddit post by Almighty Fighting Championship,
Wix gives you the power of AI to build the website you need.
The bout has allegedly been signed for UFC 306 at the Sphere in Las Vegas. Ortega, who had been in talks with the UFC for a fight at Noche UFC, adds further excitement to this potential matchup. This fight could mark a significant return for both fighters, bringing much anticipation and speculation within the MMA community. Oliveira, a dynamic fighter known for his striking and grappling, is looking to regain his standing in the lightweight division. Ortega, a former featherweight title challenger, brings a different skill set and a fresh challenge for Oliveira. The potential bout at the Sphere promises to be a highlight in the UFC calendar, drawing fans and analysts eager to see how these two seasoned fighters match up. As fans await official confirmation, the rumored fight continues to generate buzz and excitement, signaling a highly anticipated event in the UFC's upcoming schedule.
Okay, guys, it's interesting. We have some credible sources saying, hey, Brian Ortega, he's been fighting for UFC Noche at the Sphere. It looks like he's going to get that with Charles Oliveira. As you know, there's already been rumors that Ilia Topuria versus Max Holloway are going to be headlining, and then Sean O'Malley versus Merab. And then for the co-main event, and then obviously now we have Charles Oliveira versus Brian Ortega. Ortega was a featherweight contender, very popular in the featherweight, kind of coming up his ranks, and now he's going to be moving up to lightweight, testing his luck with Charles Oliveira. And Charles Oliveira is the UFC submission king. He has more submissions than anyone else. And even though Islam Makhachev did submit him, it is still, his pedigree speaks for itself. Islam was the only person, and Arman, to make Charles look human. Let's see, is it because of skill, better grappling and wrestling, or is it because Charles Oliveira just mentally wasn't there? Maybe he needs to take a break, not fight as high-level competition, go back to the drawing board, get his mind right, and then start competing again. And maybe that's what he's doing with Brian Ortega. But I am so excited to see this fight. As you know, both the guys are bangers. Both the guys are going to try to look for a finish on the ground. So I am just so excited for this fight. But the last thing I want to throw in there, I know I was saying how Topuria and Max Holloway look like they're going to be headlining. Here is my thought. McGregor's broken toe, BS, and they're saving him to headline the Sphere. That is my 2 cents on there, guys. Comment down below, what do you think? And also, do you want to see Ortega versus Oliveira? Do you think this is the best move for Oliveira? Obviously, Oliveira's his main goal in life is to get the belt. Now he's going to have to wait in line for a little bit. He's going to have to see, okay, what happens with Arman versus, why can't I say his name right now? Islam. And because last time they fought, I believe it was Arman's, like, his first fight for the UFC, and it was so competitive. We need to watch them two fight and then see what's next for Charles. It's just interesting that the two people picked to be possibly Charles' opponent for the belt when that time comes are both people who have beaten him. Yes, Arman was a little bit more competitive, but Islam definitely walked right through him. I am super excited to see Charles Oliveira come back. I would love to see him with a different vigor like what he used to have back in the day, before Islam just walked through him. So with that, we're going to go ahead and talk about a new UFC rule change. I have no idea what it is. Let's go ahead and click play on this and I'll react.
The rule change. If you're an old school fan who watched Pride or you follow its nephew promotion, Ryzen, you know very well how knees and kicks to the head of a grounded opponent can flip the script for a fight real quick. Well, although we're not going to see that going down here in North America, well, not legally anyways, a step in that direction is taking place this October. During the UFC broadcast on Saturday, analyst Laura Sanko reported that as of October 1st, Knees or kicks to the head of an opponent will be allowed even if the fighter has one hand down on the cage floor. In other words, a fighter will have to have at least one knee on the ground to prevent their opponent from kicking or kneeing them to the head. Again, legally speaking. So given we've seen fighters game the current rule for years and often in a very annoying manner, let's face it, this came as welcome news for many. Here were some of the reactions. Aljo must be crying when he heard the news, because there goes his chance of ever winning a belt again, lol. Took them years to do this ish. John Jones' crawlout is gonna have some risk now, lol. Mozart and Mokaev just ished themselves. Rules should be removed entirely. One knee is still abusable. I still like more the rules of Ryzen 1, where you can do soccer kicks to the face and knees to the grounded opponents. This is great and a long time coming. Too many fighters are in compromised positions and just touch the floor.
Okay, I'm going to end it right there. There were some pretty good comments, so I definitely wanted to listen to it. So what do you think about that, y'all? The one weird thing is they said it wasn't allowed in America, but they didn't say where. Let me see. I'll just play this real quick. Laura Senko talking about it. Alrighty. The hands on the floor does not count as a ground opponent. A fighter must have at least one knee on the ground to prevent their opponent from kicking and kneeing them to the head. This is a major change for all fighters. UFC, MMA, Vegas 94. Didn't you hear them, though, say that it wasn't in America just yet? So it's kind of a little weird that she tagged Vegas in there and yada, 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 because in the beginning of the story it said it's not allowed in America yet, and I see the controversy to it. So what does that mean when they do UFC UK, Abu Dhabi, Dubai? Does that mean that they get to go fight there, or Mexico if they ever go to Mexico? Does that mean now that they can fight and have that rule, Because what happens a lot of times, guys will be grabbed onto, in their words, just put a hand on the ground, so, you can't get you can't get kneed, can't get elbowed, and it's just kind of crazy to me that that is actually a rule, and it really is exciting to see that rule getting taken away, possibly see a little bit more violence, and guys in more compromised positions not be able to get out using the rules, because, at the end of the day, the difference between MMA and boxing is obviously you're using all your limbs except for your head, and it's more violent. You got to have a little bit or a lot of it more dog into you to step into that octagon. Because I'm telling you guys, if you haven't felt the difference between a boxing glove and a MMA glove, it is night and day. And there's one when I go sparring with boxing gloves that maybe I have a little headache in the morning or hurts to eat on hard sparring days. I have sparred with MMA gloves on before when I was younger, before I started doing all my boxing endeavors. And let me tell you what, you get hit one time in the eye, it is like black and swollen for like 3 weeks. It is not fun whatsoever. But I'm leaving it there, guys. If you got any entertainment out of this, if you learned anything, if you appreciate not having to scour through the internet and putting together what I think are the most entertaining stories, please subscribe. Give me a thumbs up, comment. It really helps me out so much. And then also visit buckabuzz.com, buckabuzz.com, link in the description. It's the best way to spend $5. It is high quality THC at a low cost and a low dose. This is THC products made for a functional user, someone like me. I have screws on my back. I don't like drinking and clouding my just like my mental health and shit. It makes me all foggy, makes me feel like shit the next day. I got screws in my back. I don't like messing with pain medicine. I'd much rather eat me a gummy, have an energy drink with 5 or 10 milligrams of natural Delta 9 THC. It's not the fake chemical stuff. Buckabuzz.com, enter in Baron notes so my sponsors know my fans are watching. So I'm out, guys. Peace.